Well, welcome back to the very harvested fields there, farmers. I was just taking a look here in October in the afternoon, 14:37, aka about 2:30. Just working on a little bit of contracts. We did get our harvest done of cotton, of grass, all that good stuff. We got her done, and we are just wrapping a few things up. This has been a very busy month for us, as you can see over there. Fully mowed big boy field, and back at the home ranch, some freshly cut cotton fields. You gotta love all that, giving us a whole lot of product. And as always, I am completely disrespecting other farmers' fields. It's what they get. It's what they get. So speaking of fields here, you can see a certain field of mine is still covered in these windrows. Now the reasoning behind it, as you can actually see here, we have completely filled up this silo with grass. As you can see in this silo, we have 2.5 million liters of grass, which is just insane. That was all just from an October mowing. We just have so many fields at this point that it is filling up. We're just going to end up having to forage up the rest of that grass off that field once we chunk through a bit more of the grass in here and turn it into silage. And now, speaking of which, you can also see the silage here very nearly full, almost at 2.5 million liters right there. So as you might expect, I'm just going to go ahead and get this sold to start the day, even though we're kind of winding down here in October. Maybe not the start of the day, but something of a start to the day. Let's go ahead and set that to sell. It will get chunked here very soon. The contract in question from earlier is our favorite Leroy contract, baling. We are baling up a whole bunch of hay, probably keeping a little bit of it, but selling most of it. We will be completing the contract. Now, as we wait for this train that I definitely didn't run to the barricade for, we got our harvested cotton field over there and our contract field over to the left. Nice little alley for us right here. Lots of money coming in from these two. Now, I don't know if I've seen this before, but something did just kind of catch my eye as I was driving past. Yeah, that's what I thought. A collectible. Well, let's get it. Oh, yeah. Haven't looked anything up for those collectibles, but they're hidden around. I just grab them as I see them at this point. Now, we obviously got a ton of cotton off of those two fields. Now, as we get baling started here, and just speaking of this field, this might be a purchase very soon once we have the money for it, you know, man. One thing I absolutely would love to get purchased is the biogas plant. I mentioned that this last month while harvesting, and it would be a really good time. Now, speaking of good times, look what we got here. Oh, I'm looking at it through the tractor view. Farming Simulator 25, November 12th. I actually kind of love that they did this. They updated a lot of the in-game advertisements to advertise the next game. I think that's pretty funny, pretty clever. As I said, I'm pretty excited for that. It should be a good time. I do like the advertisements. I think they're pretty funny, and I'm just straight up excited for the game. Already announced a lot more content for it, as I said. Now, speaking of collectibles, I forgot I do have two literally right here next to the farm. I was saving this if I farmed pigs and cows, but you know, I don't think I'm ever gonna farm pigs at the very least, so get in my pockets and double get in my pockets. Look at that. Some nice little pocket money from those. Don't hurt nobody. Love seeing the citizens behind me that I'm keeping waiting. One thing I did a little bit earlier today was I just very efficiently took pretty much all of our bales that I had in storage. These are just grass bales, and I fed them right into the sheep. I want to make sure the sheep all have food, and I was getting sick of dumping some bales in here, so yeah, this should keep them very occupied. I was using the bale loader for it, but it was just such a pain that I ended up just auto offloading all of them, so they're kind of kept their brick shape. I think it's pretty nice though, and it's not too cheaty. They would kind of stack it up like that. Obviously, they would have to physically put the food into the sheep troughs, but we don't worry about that too much. Now, speaking of our cotton here, I just came on out to take a look. We obviously have a little bit of surplus. We have, what, a good like 5 bales. 4 bales extra They're each, 10,000 or so. That looks like they're being drained a little bit. So we had an extra like 40,000 liters of cotton there. Now what we do have in there is 315,000 liters, which is just crazy. The wool is a little low, but I do need to do a little bit of a run from our sheep. I might wait till it fills up just a bit more, or this, gets closer to being empty. But this, we have a decent amount back at our farm, and this is just telling me we could deal to have a lot more sheep. Because we are falling behind here. But yeah, lots of cotton, obviously a surplus here, which means we can probably upgrade this, especially if I want to increase how much cotton I'm making. But just 4 bales extra is not too shabby at all. And it's all going into the clothing store. Looks like it is getting backed up just a little bit, but we are pumping out those clothes. Now the bread's another one. We're actually getting very close to fully filling up on that. Our flour is producing lovely. But yeah, all the production's looking pretty good, and just waiting for this guy to sell right here. Ooh, I saw the jump. I saw that lovely jump. Look at that. So 700,000 or so, just under 695,000. That is our sold products of silage. It's a little more fun, maybe a little more interesting when I was driving those out myself, but hey, you can't beat how quick that was. $700,000 in my pocket feels very, very nice. Now, what doesn't feel so nice is that loan, but obviously I can apply some of the money I have out right now and pay that down, at least for the time being. So I will set that back to storing, and we'll get more into the proper selling season, where this is actually a peak and where I don't just have, 2.5 million liters chilling there. By the time we get to January or so, which is usually when we sell our silage, I should still have a good amount of silage produced. We make it very, very fast, but yeah, I think we can get a little bit later into the year, not too much to handle. Looking forward to selling some more, earning some more money. Here in December of year 9, we got snow on the forecast. It is about 1405, aka 205 for us non-military folk or Europeans. We got us some bread to sell today. You can see I already got a bit loaded up. We were a little overloaded on production, so I just came over here, picked some of it up, got ready to go for the following month. But yeah, we just got about a full trailer wagon here full of bread pallets. Looks like our final tally is 75,000 liters. We're here sitting right at peak pricing. I was trying to get the perfect price, but it's about $3,367 per 1,000 liters. Not too shabby, well above what it said the peak was. We are selling to Grocery Mart. It doesn't say that December is the peak. It used to be the peak, actually, so that's kind of why I was looking forward to today. We are well above the peak pricing, though, so I think we have a bit of great demand going on. I think I might just take advantage of that now. A lot of times, if you get a great demand right around when it's supposed to be at its peak, like within a month or two, you can actually get some higher prices, even if it's not the exact day. December, obviously the start of our little operation here for selling. Next month is our bigger sale month with all that silage, which we've cooked up quite a lot more since putting it on sell back in, I think it was October, maybe November. Now, the AI is pretty good at backing it up here, but I am not, so we are going to do it the plebeian way, and oh boy, that money. And boom, $236,000, nearly $237,000. Pretty good for a year's worth of bread. That came from our oat harvest. That is the only grain that we are currently processing into bread. I did upgrade the flour mill and the bakery this year, so that kind of just like covers our costs there. So it's nice to have some of that money back, but also being able to chunk through a lot of that oat. Obviously, the secondary part of that is we are able to take that straw in our silage processing, so that is a very, very sweet. Other thing I was going to get around to doing today was bringing some of that wool on up. We are very nearly empty of it up at the spinnery, so I figure I might as well go grab it. Did see a couple of our fields needing some good old lime. It was the 2 home fields here for cotton. I swear I just limed them not too long ago, but I guess they needed to again, we are pretty hard on our fields with all of the products we run through it, and I'll probably be going for cotton again on these guys. We're pretty close to being able to plant that cotton. That is a February planter, and then obviously doing our oat planting starting in March. It's gonna be a big year of planting for us. I also started the good old foraging on oil can. You can kind of see the worker going at the fields over there. Should get that all cleaned up. We were just waiting for you know, some of that grass to kind of clear out so we would have room for it. Now, speaking of workers in the background, it looks like this guy who, ooh, we get to slide those out of there. That's always nice. Looks like he finished up the baling here. Oh man, that bale is it's just sticking back there, isn't it? As I just completely slam into another one. As you know, just near about my favorite contract to do. Pays a whole lot of money, gives us a few bales for our sheep, and gets that field ready to be bought by me, honestly. That's gonna be a buy very soon. Pretty much any really big field on Elm Creek is going to be in my sights. As you can see, we're doing a great job loading up that wool ever so slowly. I'll get this guy started on the next leg of his venture, get our wool sent on up to the spinnery, and then get these fields limed. Feels nice to have a bit more money in my pocket already at $250,000. Just about the ugliest pack-up job you've ever seen here, but it's just becoming what is known as a Taterman classic. As long as you can drive it and it gets to where it needs to be, it ain't stupid, right? No, it's definitely still stupid. Let's be real here. I'll get this guy on up to the spinnery because we got some fields to lime. Let's hire a little farmhand, get this driven on up. Before I go though, about 110,000 liters of wool. Very, very nice. Any chance I get to use near about one of my favorite implements here on the farm, I jump at the opportunity, man. Now, we do have just an absolute ton of fertilizer in there, so I'm gonna have to dump all this out, but that's okay, man. It's a lot of fertilizer. I don't even have space for all of it, man. Oh, okay, we got it. We got it. Probably just get these boys put away here. Oh boy, lots of fertilizer. So with all that put away, it's time to get a little bit of liming going, man. We just got our two fields here, 56 and 57. They need some lime, but everywhere else is looking pretty good except for your field. But I don't care about that field, man. That's just one of those fields. I don't know if I'll ever buy it. It is pathetically small. It's a big piece of land, but the field itself way too small for my needs. Can use our fancy little field workstation here to fill her on up. Now we're probably gonna want a decent amount of lime here. It seems like a lot, but it was only $2,000 worth, and you really burn through the lime. Now I'm pretty sure we can do a little tester here, but that should take care of it. Yeah, it does. Okay. Suppose I probably could try to do a little bit of fertilizing here at the same time. Let me drive on over, see if it does get fertilized. Right now it doesn't have any states of fertilization. We aren't planting this month. We're planting in, I believe, January. So let me see if I can get the mean fertilizing machine going once again, but this time maybe it'll work. This thing on the front of the tractor is just never gonna look quite right to me, but I guess at the end of the day, it kind of does the same thing, huh? All right, let's see here. Does that cover it? Let's see. Okay, it does appear to be fertilized. Yeah, all right. It looks like the main green liming and fertilizing machine is a go. This is gonna be absolutely ridiculous. It's probably just a stupid thing to do because I'm gonna have to refill on fertilizer at least once or twice. But hey, it's funny, and that's all that matters, okay? That is really emblematic of how I've been running my farm. If it's funny, I'm a lot more likely to do it. Even if it doesn't make any sense at all, or is overall just like a bad decision. It don't matter as long as it's funny, okay? All right, that should cover it. No, it appears we are missing the very end. So bring her around, bring her back around. We need to go just like a little bit to the left of where I was, which, yeah, that's looking near about perfect. Get her all lined up here, get it switched on, and let's go. Look at this baby fly. So I've obviously been very excited to make this work, so it's nice that it is. Hey, pretty convenient little setup. Look at that, just liming and fertilizing in one step. I mean, that's just a good time, man. Come on. And no one can tell me different. That's just a good time. We might be able to get like a little bit more efficient with how we're placing it, but I just like to make sure we get the whole thing covered, you know what I mean? Going over the train tracks is less than a fun time, but it's okay. It's okay. Now, I'm gonna get this guy just cleared out right here with some fertilizer, some lime. I might do one of them fancy little time lapses for y'all to enjoy and see this guy get fertilized, get limed, all sorts of goodness. Well, hope y'all enjoy the good old fertilizing liming machine. I know I did. That's a pretty good little time, I have to admit. That's a fun one. I like running both of them at the same time. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did accidentally hire a worker. I pressed H when I meant to hit G on the keyboard to switch the implement, and that's what made that weird little mark right there. It just started for like half a second, and I was wondering what was going on. Pretty funny though, honestly. Now, I did have an AI deliver these. Totally forgot that I had put him on it, and didn't look like it worked out so well with all those cotton bales in the way. But that's okay. He did a pretty good job, honestly. I just got up here and slid them back myself. They are small enough where I can just, you know, pick them up. So got a bit of our wool in there. Obviously have a ton of cotton as well with these big old bales. Just kind of getting things arranged here before we get on back to the farm. You can see 126,000 liters of wool and then 315,000 liters still of cotton, even though we still have a few bales out front. So those got a bit of ways to go before they're fully processed into that fabric and then into clothes, making me a lot of money, a whole lot of money. Should just about do her for December though. We got more to sell next month. Now here we are, January of year 9, just before 8 a.m. in the morning. You can see it is a blustery, wintry, snowy morning here in Elm Creek. I do love the snow, getting it all over the tractor tires and everything. Always been a fun little effect. It is officially selling season. We are into the thick of things. It always kind of starts in December. We get a little bit of that bread sold, get a little bit of the other stuff sold, but January is always the big month. We are still working on Leroy's field over there, slowly doing our thing. I don't really know where I'm going. I'm just enjoying the landscape. Now I got a few big plans this month. First things first, you might see in the top right there's a lot of money in my pocket. Now I did pay down the loan last month after selling all that bread and the silage, just doing like round one of the silage earlier in the year, or late last year I suppose. Got that down to maybe like $400,000 or so in debt, maybe a little more than that. But now I actually upped it to where I have about $1.5 million in my bank. Probably gonna be taking out more just for like planting and maintenance costs throughout the year, but we have an exciting thing that I want to do today. Some of you might already guess it, and I've teased it a few times, but I was thinking about getting the biogas plant bought today. Now the biogas plant is a place that I have visited many times, many times. I've dropped off silage here a lot, done a lot of contracts here as well. I usually end up selling to the animal dealer just because it tends to have better prices, and on top of that, this obviously has like a fill limit. You just can fill up these tanks with the silage. But what you can do is, if you get this thing bought right here, which it is $1.5 million, it lets you feed silage or other different components into it, and it produces passive income every month, turning that biodegradable stuff that you put into it, burning it or whatever. I don't understand the whole process, but they make power out of it and you get paid for it. So $1.5 million is a lot, but it does make its money back somewhat quickly. On top of that, it also produces this stuff called digestates. Now digestate, you can use it as a fertilizer, but what I think I might actually end up doing is using it to create my own fertilizer, which is very funny because I just realized I have an absolute ton of fertilizer in there now, but we won't talk about that. There's a really cool mod that lets you basically use the digestate in a production to create different versions of fertilizer, so you can make liquid or solid fertilizer, I believe. So that's something I'm really thinking about doing. So with us buying the biogas plant, this might be one of the few times, at least recently, that I'm going to physically be running all of the silage out and taking it over to the biogas plant. So the reason I'm going to do that is kind of that old traditional thing where I fill up a production point before buying it, just fill it to the brim, get paid for all of that stuff that I put into it, and then once I buy it, I basically just am able to double up on that stuff and reap the benefits. So because of that, I think it might be time to upgrade our trailers. So this is actually the forage wagon from however long ago. I decided it's probably time to get rid of this guy. I have those fancy other ones. If I'm wanting to do more foraging, I should probably just invest in those. This thing is pretty outdated at this point, but it served us well for its time. It was a big upgrade over that initial quick bale however long ago. End of another era, honestly, right here, but it was going to happen eventually. I like to get it a little repaired, see if we can't get slightly better. I mean, it is old, so I wouldn't be surprised if we really don't get too much for it. Yeah, I mean, this thing's only worth like $7,000, but whatever. I kind of just want it off the farm, you know. Oh, I realized I sold the wrong thing. I sold the trailer. I was gonna sell that one too, so whatever. This thing's worth a little bit more at 10,000, but yeah, we'll just be getting rid of this. Honestly, I should probably just be getting another one of these guys. This guy is like okay, but I really enjoyed this guy because it has the silage additive tank, and this guy doesn't. So yeah, let's sell this guy. So long, old friend. Now, to turn in all of this good old silage, I'm thinking we get a couple of new trailers. I have my eye on another good old crone. The thing I do like about them is that they're pretty much all dump trailers. A lot of the other ones are like tippers or one of the use little like grain chutes, so that means they can't carry silage. Nice thing about this guy is I'm pretty sure it can carry near about everything. But yeah, just slapping a cover on that guy might adjust one or two other things just for fun. Yeah, I mean, this is looking good. I might even just get a couple of these. So I'm gonna get a couple of these leased out, and we'll just we'll pay them off over time. So spent just a little bit on those, but I think these are probably just gonna be like a long-term keep. We'll see. Maybe I shouldn't have doubled up on it, but we'll roll with these today, see how they are, maybe return them if need be. Realize I'm going to the biogas with this thing completely empty. So what I'm gonna do is basically just dump off as much silage as I can. I have a feeling we have more silage than it can accommodate for its tanks there at the biogas. I don't know what the capacity is. I assume it's pretty high because it is a very expensive plant. If it is not that high, I could eventually upgrade that if I wanted to, although that would be another, you know, $1.5 million, which would be kind of ridiculous. If I have the silage to accommodate it, honestly, it might be worth eventually. Now, speaking of silage, I forgot to show it on the production page, but we do have another 1.7 million liters. Now, we did just sell, what, 2.5 million liters back in, I want to say November or so. So this is, whew, this is very nice. This is very, very nice. Yeah, but the nice part about these trailers, just a big old capacity. Kind of looking similarly, but just like a bit bigger. You can even like flip the cover on. Yeah, that's a good looking trailer right there. I do like the covers. Protects it from the snow, from the elements. Now, on top of the silage today and the purchases we're gonna make, I do need to get the greenhouse products sold. We have a decent amount of those, so that should be a decent chunk of change. Obviously, silage is the big one. We also have clothes, which I believe is April or May, so not until later this year, but it is producing up over there. I might even need to kind of move the pallets around a little bit just to make more space for it, but we'll start the first little delivery here. We're gonna have a lot more of these today with 1.7 million liters of silage. That's a pretty favorable little dump off point, but yeah, we're getting paid. Price here is not as good as the animal handler, but I have been wanting to buy it, and I think it's gonna be a good time to buy while I just have like the silage to fill it up, you know. It's not like a ridiculously different price, but it is a bit lower. Like it is a decent amount lower, so I'm probably losing if I just sold them and wasn't doing any buying or anything like that. I'm definitely losing a bit of money doing it this way. Probably put a worker on this to get it going back and forth. With 1.7 million liters total of silage to transport, and these trailers hold, you know, about 100,000 liters. You can kind of do the math there. It's going to take a little bit, but not as ridiculous as the 3-hour sale from however long ago. Still have this tractor borrowed, have one or two of those kind of just floating around. I think I'll put him on this. Then after that, it is transporting up those other products. I have to admit, the greenhouse and like beehive gains are just, obviously I haven't been putting a lot of money into them, but trying to think if I even want to continue them going. Greenhouse can actually make like a lot of money. I'd consider just putting it on auto sell and not dealing with delivering it every year. The one that I have still needs the liquid fertilizer, so it's never going to be completely automated unless I look into some sort of mods or something like that that can handle that. But you know, I've just been keeping on with it. Why not? It is making us a bit of money, so I can't complain about that. Oh man, I think I might have already filled up the tanks. I just noticed that the harvest income kind of like stopped. Yeah, these tanks are full already. That is actually like hilarious. So we still have a ton of silage. And what that means is, oh boy, yeah, we still have a lot of silage to sell. So I'm going to just change that to selling. Yeah, I'm just going to change that to selling. So we are going to be distributing this to the biogas after this point, but with how much we make and how little these tanks are, I think we're just going to end up selling it as normal. This will be more just like nice passive income. But I think the time has arrived. I'll have to look into handling the digestate. But yeah, I do believe it is time. This is a big step. Ever since I got into silage, this was kind of the goal to get this guy bought. So happy times. I'm happy to be moving up in the world finally. But yeah, let's get this bought, man. Oh, baby. 1.5 million down the drain. That's by far my biggest purchase. Now, I've had years where I bought several fields. I bought pieces of equipment and everything, but 1.5 mil is easily my biggest sale ever. Per sale. Biggest buy ever, man. So, we got the good old biogas down here. Now, you can put silage, slurry, manure, and sugar beets in here. Obviously, I'm only doing the silage, at least for right now. Maybe someday we'll work on these other ones, but for for now, it is the silage. This does produce the digestate, so it gets us, what is this, like 5,000 things of power, and then 2,500 digestate for every 8,000 liters of silage. So I can just distribute the silage directly here from my silo, or, you know, from the production will get transported over here. And the biogas plant income will fill out. I think it comes in like chunk payments. Now, there's a lot of red numbers here that aren't very pretty. The total being negative 1.3 mil or 1.4. That's bad. And obviously the loan is not looking good. We did have to take out a lot of money to afford that biogas plant. So now the loan cap, I tested it is at about $3 million. So I can go up to $3 million. That should be more than enough, especially considering we are doing more selling today and we're selling our clothes in April or May. Maybe can't do like big chunk purchases, but most of my purchasing these days is just like leasing stuff out, maybe returning it, just financing it long term. So I'm not too worried about that. What's funny is I leased out these trailers thinking that I was going to need to do a lot more runs for the silage. The silage tank there at the biogas plant isn't nearly as big as I thought it would be. I miss this turn every time now. I so rarely drive out to Johnson's Farmers Market anymore. It's kind of sad, honestly. I wonder if old Farmer Johnson misses me, or he just still hates my guts, you know? Probably the latter, but let's just pretend for a second that he's nostalgic for all the times I would come up here. He used to sell here all the time, but I'm selling everything here. We got honey, we got strawberries, we got miters. He's buying it all, man. It's definitely not the peak season for honey, but I mean, I'm driving out here, man, and it doesn't really matter to sell that at peak. All right, we got, what, 54,000 there, and then another 900. So yeah, about 55,000. Nothing crazy, but nothing to sniff at either. It is nice getting those all sold. I do have the stuff that's still in the greenhouse, but not on pallets. I'll put that on auto sell. A little extra money should come to me that way. Very nice to be earning some of this money considering we just spent 1.5 mil. It's a good investment though. We will be getting big chunks of that back. It's a nice way to just have that passive income flowing too. That's something I'm probably going to be investing more in. I do have a couple generators. I'm probably going to get bought. Just random stuff. Like I have a little cell phone tower. Maybe I'll put up like 1 or 2 of those. There's a radio tower, some solar panels. I've kind of been putting those on the back burner a little bit, but for getting to a billion, I think it's going to be very important to just maximize not working for our money. Getting that passive income. There's obviously so much I do every single day to be making money, so having something to chunk in the background is going to help a lot, especially since we've kind of honed in on our crops that we're going to be using every single year with oat and grass and cotton. I end up skipping a lot more months just because I'm waiting for things to grow or waiting for the proper seasons to harvest or plant or whatever, you know. That is one downside of playing with seasons on, but I just enjoy it. I like that you kind of have to plan things around when things grow, when planting season is, when harvest season is. That's why I like keeping that seasonal mode on. Some people have suggested swapping it, but I don't know. It makes a lot more sense to me to play the game that way. A lot of things I will overlook to increase the quality of the game, like realism, but that's just one where it's like, man, it's just kind of lame. I don't know. Maybe that's just my opinion. You gotta play with seasons on, unless you're like really interested in doing one product or something that and you just don't want to wait for it, as I slip and slide all over my farm. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it, but I do love the seasons, so it's maybe just a personal preference. Now it does look like this field is all baled up, so I will step on out even though I'm technically still in that tractor somehow. Don't question it too much, don't worry about it. That's just my clone. He was farming for me. I will get this guy turned in. Thank you for the money, Leroy. Enjoy having my clone there. So as I said, do have the greenhouse products on sale here, as well as the silage here. Still waiting on that to get sold. That'll do it at the turn of the hour, which I'll probably just accelerate here in a sec. I was just looking at things and we do appear to be getting backed up at the bakery yet again. So could consider just getting that upgraded once again. It's only $70,000, so I think I am just going to go ahead and get that upgraded again, just so we're not getting backed up. up. The less I have to touch it, the better. So we've sunk a decent amount of money in there, but I mean, it's obvious that oat into bread is just going to become one of the staples. So moving away from it makes a whole lot less sense to me. I'll have to think about what fields I want to make cotton, what I want to make oat. Now we have the spike here. We have field 70. I could just do the same split. We did get plenty of cotton, mostly from field 70 here. Obviously got a ton of oat and grass from our little rotation there. I suppose I could do some more cotton if I wanted to, but that would involve upgrading all of our facilities again because they can't quite handle what I'm feeding them right now. So there's probably no reason to do any more right now. Meanwhile, we can handle all the oats, we can handle all the grass. Upgrading that first is going to make a whole lot more sense. Grass, we obviously added more handling for the silage by buying that biogas plant, and yeah, we're going to be feeding that throughout the year. But yeah, let's get the time picked up just a little bit, get us to the top of the hour so we can get some more money. And yeah, we jumped up a decent chunk there, maybe like, I don't know, 500k, but let's take a look. So sold all of this stuff, sold all that silage. That was another, what, like 1.5 million liters or so on the day. We have a little bit here. Oh, we already have a little bit of biogas income, so that's nice. We already have $3,000. It's maybe been an hour since I bought it. We have a bit of harvest income. I believe that is just from selling the silage to the biogas before buying it. It's hard to tell, but sold products is what the auto sell is. So we made another, what, like $600,000 on our silage. We also made, what, $700,000, $800,000 the other day from selling the silage. So we're making a lot of money on that silage multiple times a year. It's not just one big sale anymore. I end up having to offload it throughout the year, and we make a lot of money off of it, man. A little bit of contract, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Sold vehicles. Probably be selling more, unfortunately. Obviously still like super into the negative. I mean, that's going to happen when you buy something for $1.5 million, but it appears we made about $600,000 on the day. Not too shabby, considering I'd made more than that in what, like November, something like that, when I last sold the silage. And we have a lot more upcoming this, what, May or so, to sell all the clothes over there. That should be a big, juicy piece of income. So we got some planting to do very, very soon. So we will be getting to that what, tomorrow? I believe it's, or tomorrow, next month in February we'll be getting that cotton planted. But I'll probably just pay down this loan, get us into planting season here. Got a nice lineup of tractors here, and we got a farmer in here to tell you thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, please press the like button, it helps a whole lot. If you aren't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. A whole lot more FS22 and FS25 soon content. Appreciate y'all once again. Hope to see you in the next one. See ya.